Right now there's 66,000 troops in Afghanistan. By the end of 2014, there will be somewhere between maybe 15,000 and 0. But that's the easy part. The hard part is bringing home all the stuff that's accumulated in the country over the past decade. I recently traveled to Afghanistan to report on a process underway right now called retrograding equipment. Basically, retrograde is a term that just means bring it from the battlefield back home.
See, full of cots, toe chains.
The military measures equipment in terms of the equivalent of a 20-foot long container that can hold 10,000 pounds worth of stuff.
What do we got here?
Exhaust fans. This guy's just full of toilet paper inside. Oh my God.
Scattered throughout Afghanistan right now is the equivalent of 90,000 of these 20-foot containers filled with equipment, and only about 23 months left to bring it all back. Equipment flows from small base to bigger base, then to a larger base like Bagram Airfield, where it's then flown out of the country. I visited Forward Operating Base Schenck, which is a middle base. So they're receiving equipment that's coming in from small bases as those bases close, and at the same time, they're pushing equipment out to go to larger bases like Bagram Airfield.
Soon this entire area right here will be clear and flattened.
Major Adam Lackey is the executive officer for the 173rd Airborne Brigade.
If I were sitting on that,
he's an incredibly experienced soldier, and right now he is sort of the point man for that whole brigade in trying to help bring all their equipment home.
The challenges that are before us are to get everything out of here as responsibly as we can. Leave for the Afghans what the Afghans need, and then recoup as much of the taxpayers' dollars as we possibly can through the removal of items that we can use somewhere else at another time, another location. We've cleaned all this out.
They landed in Afghanistan in July of 2012. When they got there, they saw more than 8,000 20-foot containers full of equipment. They were stacked behind the gym, they were arrayed in the yards, they were scattered along the roadsides.
You can literally see the layers, almost like if you were to cut a tree, of how we've stacked things and removed things and built it.
If the container did not have an owner, they slapped a little note on it that said, hey, if you own this container, you have 7 days to contact us, otherwise we're shipping it out. And then they sent those containers up the road to Bagram Airfield.
If it's not essential, we want to move it out so we can bring things to the warfighter when they need them, but not stockpile and not hoard like we've done in the past.
When I landed in Bagram, I met up with the CENTCOM Materiel Recovery Element, otherwise known as the CMRE, which is a specialized unit that helps infantry and fighting units bring all of their stuff together to sort it properly and then package it up so they can send it home.
Looks very expensive.
So it's going to cost anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 to bring a given amount of equipment home. And so what they do is they look at a piece of equipment and say, it makes sense to bring this home, or it does not make any financial sense to bring this home. They sort it into equipment that we can hand over to the Afghans. They sort it into equipment that we have to destroy because they don't want anyone, an insurgent, being able to get a hold of it and use it to make a weapon or make a bomb. They sort it into material that it makes financial sense to bring home. On average, a plane is taking off or landing from Bagram Airfield every minute and a half. 800 to 900 planes a day. On our last day in Afghanistan, we spent the day with the 455th Aerial Expeditionary Wing. They were downloading and uploading a C-5, which is the biggest cargo airplane that we have. There's about 8 to 10 on a given team, 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 6 days a week. So it's a pretty exhausting schedule.
It's kind of rewarding to know that we're pulling out of here, and it means that it's going, so hopefully we'll be next.
During my 2.5 weeks in Afghanistan, I spoke with dozens of people at all levels of this process, from the privates out on the ground, all the way up to colonels and logistics planners at a very high level. And every single one of them told me that they're confident that we'll get this done. Right now, what we need to look at, though, is how much it's going to cost. There's $36 billion worth of equipment in Afghanistan, and right now the estimate is that it'll cost $5.7 billion to bring it all home. But the bottom line is that in 2014, at the end of the year, if all of our equipment is out of Afghanistan, it will be a huge achievement.